My name is Jeff Wilson. By day, I invest in tech companies, and at night, I invest in sports cards. Join me on my journey to profit from the hobby we all love. Hello, sports card investors, and welcome to another episode. A great episode today. Basketball card investing in the age of Zion. How are we going to approach basketball card investing in the next month or two with all of the hype around Zion? This year is unlike any other year of basketball card investing. It is going to be way different because you got all the Zion hype going on. You've also got so many new people coming to the hobby. You got print runs going up. You got prices of all of these new releases of cards that have gone through the roof. What you're going to have to buy boxes for is way more than what you've had to do in years past. So it is going to take a different strategy this year to make money with basketball card investing. And that is what we are going to be talking about in today's episode. And in fact, we're going to jump right in because I listened to all of the comments that you guys leave on my YouTube chat, as well as my Facebook group and my Discord chat server. And after the last episode, a few of you left a comment that said, hey, get right into the episode. You talk too much about your website, sportscardinvestor.com, and your Facebook group and your Discord chat server. Let's get right to the episode. So you know what? Let's get right to the episode today. And I have brought on a fabulous guest to do this episode with me, somebody who knows basketball cards super duper well. It is Ty Wilson of Breaker Culture. Some of you may be familiar with the Breaker Culture podcast. It is a really good podcast all about different aspects of the hobby. And also his website, breakerculture.com, covers sports cards from an investment angle. There's a lot of great stuff on there about how the prices of sports cards are changing and how they've changed over time and where he sees them going. He is the perfect person to have this conversation with me about how to approach basketball cards over the next 60 days because he knows a lot about it. And I think we uncovered some really good things in our conversation and hopefully are going to give you a lot of really good takeaways. So let's get to it. Here it is, me and Ty Wilson talking about basketball card investing in the year of Zion. Enjoy. Hey, Ty, welcome to Sports Card Investor. Happy to have you, man.
Hey, how are you?
Thanks. I'm doing great.
Appreciate it.
I am doing great. I'm glad to talk to you today. I saw a tweet from you today that I thought was really relevant to our conversation tonight. You talked about how, I guess you did a study where you looked at the price of if you had invested in the top 25 Prism Silver rookie cards at the beginning of this year, and then you looked at the values today, right?
Yep.
And what you saw was markets going up.
Yeah, it was impressive. Yeah, I was trying to create this idea of a fund for PSA 10s, right? If you were to take and average out kind of the top 25 of different rookie classes, investing at different times, what would it look like? Right. It actually startled me. I didn't expect to see 2017-18 and this 2019 year perform better than the Luka Doncic, Trae Young, Michael Porter class. Didn't expect it.
Yeah, so that was a surprising statistic. So just to give everybody the actual stat if they didn't see your tweet. So if you had bought these top 25 rookie cards on January the 1st of this year, from both the 2017-2018 class and the 2018-2019 class, all of the cards from the 17-18 class have gone up 28% as a whole.
Yeah.
All of the cards from the 18-19 class have gone up 17% as a whole. So both groups have gone up, which doesn't surprise me because I feel like the sports card market overall is seeing price inflation right now, basketball in particular. But as you were, I was a little bit surprised to see that the 17-18 guys who are actually the crop from the year prior had appreciated more than the 18-19 guys.
Yeah, and I think the obvious takeaway from that is don't get caught in hype, right? I think it's easy to get excited, especially as we're entering this 2019-20 phase with Zion mania going crazy. It's going to be really easy to get sucked in and to think you're making a good investment, but in all reality, you're paying like peak prices, and it'll be nearly impossible in the next 3 years for the prices to come back.
Yeah, and that was my takeaway when I was thinking about the timing of that. So you were going back to January 1st of this year. So Prism would have been out for probably a little bit over a month at that point, right? So we would have
Correct. Yeah.
seen the cards from Prism hitting the market throughout the month of December. And those cards, what they're selling for in December is going to have such a peak because it's going to be the very first time those cards have shown up for sale on eBay. And then you're going to start to see a little bit of a cooling off period. So you probably caught, by looking at February 1st, you probably caught some of the 18, 19 guys still kind of towards that bubble peak period. I would imagine they probably cooled off a little bit coming out of January, but then started to pick back up as the year went on.
Yeah, and I think the representation of taking the top 25 is helpful because it kind of balances out a little bit. You're going to get guys like Jaren Jackson who get hurt and fall off. You're going to get guys like DeAndre Ayton who just, their centers are not going to hold in value. But you got guys like Anthony Simons who go from $30 to $150 PSA 10 that you weren't really relevant in January. So
right.
I think that's why I think it was very fascinating looking at the top 25. I could have probably done the whole product and it probably would have showed a similar result. But your point is prices keep going up. And that to me is what stuck out. If you're patient and you're investing in graded cards, like it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So, even with that potential little bit of a bubble that was happening January 1st when you pulled the prices still have gone up over the course of this year to where they are today. And if you look back at the last year class, 17, 18, they've gone up even more. So we're definitely seeing a lot of momentum in the basketball hobby, which is great news. And that brings us into the conversation that I wanted to really talk about today was how do we invest in this era of Zion? Zion mania is here. For those of you who didn't see, he went off on the Hawks the other night with slam dunking left, right, and center. So the Zion era is officially here. There has been one full set release so far, and it's these guys, the contenders draft picks, which I know you've talked about it on your show. I've talked about it a lot on my show. I had a pretty bad experience opening up these boxes. So this I don't consider a real high quality release, but it also my experience with this release got me a bit worried about what the rest of the releases are going to look like and how Panini is adjusting to the fact that there's going to be so much hype around these basketball releases this year that you probably have print runs going up, although we don't know for sure. You certainly have prices going up, and we've seen that right with what boxes are being released for and that type of thing. So I thought it would, for the person out there who's looking at how do I invest in basketball this year, this is not a typical year. I think Zion Mania and the increase in attention to the hobby just in general is making this not a typical year. So I thought what we would do is maybe step through some of the releases that are upcoming, talk about them a little bit, and then talk about some just general strategies on how to approach this in general.
That sounds good.
So today, of course, we're filming this the day before I'm releasing it, but today, first off the line, Prism Draft Picks basketball went on Panini's website. I had yet another horrible experience on Panini's website where I got two of them in my shopping cart. They were there in my shopping cart. I tried to go through a checkout process and I can't check out due to error messages. And then eventually all of a sudden my cart's magically empty, which has now happened to me on like 4 first of the line releases in a row.
Oh, same here. I'm over 10, something like that.
Yeah. So I did not get any, but the actual, I think the hobby boxes for that come out on October 16th was the date that I last heard. So we're a little bit.
They ship tomorrow.
What's that?
Tomorrow.
They ship
hobby boxes. Hobby boxes.
Yeah. First of the line ships tomorrow. I think hobby boxes come out in about a week. Yeah. So,
you got retail with that too. That's the interesting thing.
Yeah. So are we expecting that set to quality-wise be worth a look? Are we expecting it to be any better than the Contenders Draft Pick set, which I frankly don't think is worth a look from a buying boxes standpoint?
Yeah. I think there's two things I'm interested in with Prism Collegiate. One, how do silvers do with Prism Collegiate? That's the difference you have with a release like you have the chrome infatuation and you have silvers, which are the card in basketball. Will they carry any value in collegiate?
Yeah.
If they do, then to me, it makes collegiate absolutely worth a look. The second thing is it's a rookie only product, right? I mean, there's no vets in this product at all. So you have this might be one of those products you sit on.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah. I think the product has more potential than draft picks has. Contenders draft picks.
For
so
sure.
I think it's got a lot more potential than that.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
You know, the adage when it comes to investing really in any sports card is the cards that come out with players in their college uniforms are not going to hold value they're not going to hold value the way that their pro uniforms do. So normally I would recommend, hey, if you're going to get in on some box breaks or you're going to buy some cards of guys in their college unis with one of these releases, you may want to dump them at the hype here before the releases like Hoops and Donruss and the actual Prism certainly comes out in a couple of months.
Yeah.
But in this case, I don't know. Is that going to be the case this year, or is there going to be enough hype around Zion and enough hype around the silvers that, this could still hold some value?
Yeah. So my thought there is this is such an obscure year, right? Period. Like the way Panini's handling releases, you see it now. They're starting to spread these things out. I think they realize these releases can carry their own value for a little bit longer than usual. So now we only have 7 releases, and from today, October 8th, until January 3rd. And they've spread them out now. So you have like Hoops in November, and you have Donruss in like late December. Like that's unusual for basketball. So I think maybe we just kind of wait and see. This is totally new, right? This product's totally new for us. But Panini took a swing at the right time. My goodness.
I agree. If they're going to drop it, this is the year to drop it. So it will be interesting to see. I do think there will probably be a lot of demand for the product. It's going to be interesting. It will certainly satisfy a hunger for people wanting to get in on a higher quality basketball set than these draft picks were. It should be a pretty good. Prism cards in general are pretty decent quality. So it's going to be fun to watch for a few weeks. I'm definitely going to buy some boxes myself. We'll see how it goes. If nothing else, but just for the experimentation of seeing what the product does, because I don't have a strong read on it, but it's going to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. It was interesting to see the opposite end of Panini Contenders draft picks and to see what came out a couple weeks ago. Was that Immaculate Collegiate? It was Immaculate Collegiate, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it absolutely dominated the market. It looked, I don't know if you opened any.
Beautiful.
But it was phenomenal.
Beautiful product.
Blowing up on eBay.
Beautiful product. I think Immaculate, honestly, they're beautiful cards. I mean, I think Panini's done a good job with that. They've gone to this year, I think they switched to where most of the cards are that, printing surface. They're really pretty cards. Really pretty.
Yeah, they are.
I like Immaculate a lot. I personally like it a lot better than Flawless. Even though it's, considerably less expensive. I kind of, for me on the high end, obviously NT is number 1, but I like Immaculate right behind NT is number 2.
I'm with you. And Flawless comes out 3-4 weeks from now.
Well, what's interesting is Flawless comes out, but is of course Flawless from last year. So we're still getting the 2018, 2019.
Flawless Collegiate is what I'm referring to. Sorry.
Oh, Flawless Collegiate.
Yeah.
Right.
That comes
we still got Flawless to come out from last year.
You're right.
Which is crazy. It's like everyone's going to be so entrenched in the new season and all these new sets coming out in Zion. We're still releasing a set of last year's guys. I mean, to be getting a set coming out where you can still be pulling Luka rookies brand new out of packs, it's a little odd timing wise, but that's
totally
what it does to us.
Totally agree.
So the first set of the guys in their NBA jerseys is the NBA Hoops, and that comes out, I believe, November the 6th. So we're about a month out from NBA Hoops. Now, normally, Hoops is in my opinion, kind of a low quality product. I'm normally not. I normally skip Hoops. I don't pay a lot of attention to Hoops. I'm normally going to go at the start of the basketball season. I'm going to wait till Prism or Optic are sets that I would wait for. I skip by hoops typically, but this year I actually think there's going to be value in hoops because it's going to be the first set with Zion in his Pelicans jerseys. And so I do think there's going to be a rush on hoops more so than there has potentially been in previous years. And I do think there's some investment potential there as a result.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think, one of the things you texted me about in preparation, this is I think about how you should maybe respond to the Zion mania. And I think where the opportunity lies for those that love to open wax. And I mean, I think the reality is if you're an investor or not, like if you can't open wax, then what's the fun in any of this, right? You have to be able to open some wax and enjoy cards the way they're meant to be enjoyed. Hoops and Donruss and Revolution, products like that are meant to be low to mid-tier, like that's where the opportunity exists, I think, for opening boxes of cards. Especially when you got hoops coming out early November, and now they've pushed Prism back to early December.
Right.
You can have a month to really take advantage of hoops. I mean, Certified's in there, I think, 2 weeks out in between the two, but Certified's irrelevant if you ask me.
It doesn't have the name brand appeal that some of the others do.
Yeah.
I agree. I do think that if you're going to buy into hoops, my general advice is if you're buying in and you're looking to sell, if you're looking at it from an investment standpoint, my general advice is to get rid of some of those cards, sell off some of those cards before a release like Prism comes out. Because once Prism comes out, a large amount of attention is going to shift to Prism and people are not going to be enthralled with hoops. I think hoops is important this year from a timing standpoint. I wouldn't say it's necessarily important from a longevity standpoint once some of the other more premium sets start to come out.
For sure. And if you're opening up boxes and you're getting base rookies of Zion, it's not a bad idea to think about grading those two. Right? You're going to get premium value on those. And not to mention this year, they're introducing on-card rookie autos, which is it's needed so much in a release like that. So I think it'll be interesting to see if that takes off.
That will definitely give it a boost. Especially, with you've got sticker releases. Do you know if Prism Draft Picks is going to have stickers?
Yeah, it's stickers.
Yeah, I assume it would be.
Yeah.
So you basically, that's going to be your first opportunity for on-card autos at that point.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Yeah. So that's that is a big deal. And as you said, if you grading is an interesting strategy. By the time you get them back from grading, you're going to be post the release of some of the others, but you'll be some of the very first to hit the market graded in their, NBA jerseys. And that could command a super premium.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the multiplier I typically use is about 3.5 of a base card. But I think when you're that early, you're probably going to get 4 or 5x your base cost, which is awesome.
There's an amazing jump. And I went back, I was looking at the 17-18 class, and I was looking at when their very first graded cards hit the market for Prism. And literally I was looking at Lonzo because, as you know, I'm a big Lonzo Ball guy right now, excited about Lonzo Ball this season. And his very first Prism PSA 10s to ever hit the market, which I think hit the market in January of 18. He was some of those very first ones were going for $500 plus. And then once a few sold, it dropped down into the $400 something range. Once a few more sold, it dropped down to the $300 and something range. And then it sat there for a little while. And eventually even cooled off a little bit from there. But there was definitely a huge price plus by being one of the first on the marketplace.
For sure. I remember tracking that in our ladders back 2 years ago and just watching it go down. And then once it settled, it was like rock solid for months.
Once it settles, once you get past that initial burst, then it just stays relatively stable. But those first few that hit the market, and I think that's also true for raw. So if you're opening up, if you're gonna buy wax and you're gonna open up wax with the intent of trying to pull a big card and then selling it, if you're first to market with that particular card, that you're certainly gonna get a premium.
For sure.
So if you're going to do that, open your hobby boxes the minute they show up on your doorstep.
Well, that or it's so hard for me to do this. I always talk about it, but I never do it. Hold your wax. Like you'd be surprised. I mean, every year you have 90% of those products that go up 10, 15, 20%.
Yeah.
If you're hesitant, just hold it.
100%. That is a whole nother investing strategy in wax.
Sure.
You know, if you, and honestly, that is really your best investing strategy in wax, because the truth is, like, buying boxes of any car type and busting them is unlikely to provide a, you know, positive ROI for you in the long run. Like, yeah, you'll get lucky with a box or two. You'll get a big hit every now and again and get a good return on a box. But over the long run, you're going to lose at that game. It's fun to do. I love doing it, but you're going to lose at that game. But holding the wax, as you just said, holding the wax, if you can hold it sealed and you could be tempted not to open it, there are gains to be had. But whether the gains are there or not is going to come down to how good the rookie class is. And this year, that might be more challenging to do because of the fact that we're already seeing such inflated wax prices right out of the gate.
Yeah, I think it's all, and you've talked about this in your shows in the past, and I completely agree. It's all going to come down to print run. It just is. Like, last year's products were printed out the wazoo, right? I mean, Prism and Optic not so much, but Prism for sure was printed 3 or 4x, like normal averages. But now you're starting to see it dry up a little bit.
Yep.
If they print 3 or 4x this year, I don't know, man. How long does it take for it to dry up? That's the big question to me.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be an interesting year to watch for sure.
Yeah.
Talk about the prices of these boxes a little bit. I actually heard you having a good discussion on this on your last episode, where you were kind of rattling off a few of the prices of what some of these boxes were going for this year right now. If you want to blow out and pre-ordered, I forget if I think you were talking about hoops, right? What that was going for on blowout compared to what that was going for last year, and it was significantly higher.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking every product is 2x right now. I mean, you just can't, and you were seeing some of that in baseball too, right? I mean, Topps update coming out and next week, it's 60% higher because of how well 2018 Topps update did. But I mean, 2x, you're out of your mind if you think you're going to make any money ripping that stuff. I mean, breaks are going to be outstanding. It's a singles market at those prices. It just is. I hate to say it, it just is. So, I mean, you're looking at Prism Draft Silver hobby cases are $4,800 for an unproven draft product. Like, this is insanity. It's just, I mean, metrics don't even do it justice with how crazy the prices are right now.
It is insanity. And it is insanity. What I don't know is, how long will it sustain? Can it sustain? How long will it sustain? Part of me thinks this is really sustainable actually for a few more years, because I think that I think the hobby is getting more and more new people in it than anybody realized. I think that I think especially basketball, I think the sneaker flippers coming into the hobby is actually a really legitimate, real trend. I see it every day. I have guys on my Discord chat server that are 100% sneaker flippers that are new to the hobby, asking a lot of basic questions, but they're here to flip and they're here to learn and they're here to make money. There's a lot of that going on right now. And as long as those folks keep flooding in, I think it can sustain it. At some point in time, it's probably going to wear off and become a little bit less sustainable. But I'm hoping we got at least a few years here of a good run.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think if any sport can survive, it's basketball. And I mean, it's obvious that we got Zion leading the charge in that regard. So it'll be really, really interesting. If basketball can't make it and we see a total bubble bursting, then I think prices across the board with all sports are going to take a massive hit. That's my personal opinion.
I also think that how Zion does this year is going to have a huge impact. So like if you're talking about buying wax at already elevated prices and holding the wax sealed and hoping that you get appreciation on the wax, which was a good strategy the last few years, you are really Zion dependent this year for that strategy to work.
100%.
If he goes
100%.
down to game 12 with an ACL,
Man.
watch out to your wax value.
Yeah, and I get it. Like, you see the Twitter interactions, you deal with it in your Discord channel, and you get all the feedback in your YouTube comments. That's where people argue that this is not an investment because it's so reliant on an individual's performance. I get it. But
I mean, this year with basketball, more so than ever before, right?
For sure. Yeah, and I think the good thing in that is that it's shifted so much attention to Zion that it's opened up really good opportunities for other players and a pretty good draft, I think. I think it's a really deep draft with 7, 8, 9 players that could easily be over $100.
So let's talk about that real quick, because that's an interesting strategy. So in the year of Zion, is it a good strategy to invest in the other good draft picks who are not named Zion?
What do you think?
I think so. I think so. I think that Zion is going to, drive such a premium, and people are going to be chasing the Pelicans and breaks, and people are going to be chasing Zion because Zion. That I think a guy like Ja Morant is going to be overshadowed, and it's hard to be overshadowed at the number 2 draft pick, right? But I think it's going to be a bit overshadowed. I think RJ Barrett could be overshadowed. I like DeAndre Hunter a lot. And, I think a lot of these, especially as you get down the draft order a little bit, I think that these guys have a chance to, to kind of sit under the shot. I like Cam Reddish a lot. I mean, the guy he didn't really work on the Duke team this last year, and he was out for a lot of the year. But he's a guy who was coming in with almost equal levels of hype, as Zion and RJ Barrett, but never materialized on the court to the same degree. But he's somebody who could, who could just fall completely under the radar, relatively low prices at release, especially if the Zion inflation is causing other prices to maybe not be as inflated. There are guys like that who I think could be good values in this draft class.
Oh, man, for sure. I agree with almost all those guys. I think 100% on Ja Morant. I think Ja Morant is a more aggressive, dynamic Trae Young. I watched a lot of Ja Morant in college, and I love his game. I think it translates really well. But even a guy like Jackson Hayes, who dominated the summer league. When Zion had to go out, Jackson Hayes was ridiculous. Him and Nickeil Alexander-Walker in New Orleans, to me, were by far 2 of the best 5 players in the summer league. And I think it's already started to carry over. Even yesterday, they both look good. But a guy like Rui Hachimura, a guy like Brandon Clark, even a guy like Tyler Hero. To me, he's like, he could be the Kevin Hater of 2019-20. I just think those types of guys, they're going to be probably a little bit lower than they would have in a normal draft year, thanks to Zion Williamson. And that's just opportunity for guys.
Absolutely. Oh, I was going to say Tyler Hero is the forgotten guy, right? He's completely overshadowed by those guys, but by Zion and RJ. But yeah, I agree. I think there's opportunities to be had. So I think one strategy is to look a little past the Zion hype and look to some of those other guys who might not be getting as much attention. I think another strategy that commonly works, and maybe it didn't work last year as well, looking at some of your numbers, but a strategy that commonly works is when the new rookie cards are released to start to look at rookie cards from the year prior, because typically you start to see a dip in interest. So a guy like Luka or a guy like Trae Young may start to actually see a little bit of a dip in interest as focus and attention is put on these new releases and the new rookies.
Yeah, I think this year that is going to be an outstanding strategy. Because you think of, even a guy like Michael Porter Jr., who's going to be playing here in about 30 minutes for the first time.
It's going to be fascinating to see how he does this year.
Under $100. As of 2 weeks ago, you could get his PSA 10s for $90.
Yeah. And they've creeped up some.
They've creeped up some. Yeah, a little bit they have. The last couple of weeks they have. But, even at 120.
Yeah.
That to me is an outstanding value. Even guys like Lonnie Walker, Zaire Smith, those guys who have kind of subtly started to fall beneath the $50 mark in some cases. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. To me, those are when you can steal those guys in December and January at discounted rates, like that to me is the investment.
Yeah.
All the attention's over here.
Yep.
Over here.
I think it's a good strategy. I think it's a good strategy. And the truth is, those guys are going to be a year closer to actually, breaking out and becoming all-stars. I mean, you typically
Yeah.
see players in maybe about their third year, fourth year, really starting to rise up and start to get into all-star contention. And those guys are a year closer to that happening, but they may be forgotten with all of the hype around this year's rookie class.
Yeah, and I think with those guys, it's safer to look at the past class in terms of which of those guys could be making the playoffs, like which guys could be playing further, because for the most part, these guys that are drafted early on in this year's draft aren't going to be making the playoffs. It's very rare that happens. So seeing some of those guys from last year making the playoffs, Luka Doncic in the playoffs, value keeps going up. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, that's always a good thing. And that's always an important metric to look at, is how teams are predicted to do. Because the guys who are hanging around, come playoff time, are the guys who are going to get a little more extra spotlight on them.
Yeah. Yeah. I do think another strategy that we start to talk about a little bit, we kind of get distracted when Prism comes out, is maybe not be so focused on Prism. I think cards like Optic Hollows, as we're seeing from last year's Optics, you got like the LeBron James and even some of the Lucas and the Trae Youngs, they're hollows. They were so hard to get last year, and they're so hard to grade. Like the pop reports, you're like, whoa, my gosh, this pop 7 on a PSA 10 for this guy, because they were just so hard to grade. Those types of cards, I think, are very undervalued right now.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to maybe, again, this is where people aren't looking, so go take advantage of opportunity.
Optic is my sleeping giant set. I really think Optic is the set that everybody is overlooking, and I don't quite understand why. The print quality is really nice. I would argue that the print quality is better than Prism. They have on-card autos.
Yep.
Unlike Prism.
Yep.
So I mean, there's a lot of nice things about the Optic set, and they've got the full set of parallels that Prism does, and that type of thing. Right. But I honestly, I'm also a little sucker for the rated rookie symbol.
Oh man, me too.
I'm a sucker for it. It takes
Something
me back.
About it.
It takes me back to my childhood. It takes me back to chasing Donruss cards from 89 and 90 and that kind of stuff. And so seeing that little rated rookie symbol, I think it's a cool thing.
Oh, me too. On card rated rookies or rated rookie hollows, some of my favorite cards in all basketball.
Yep, 100%.
Well,
rated rookie, rated rookie on card autos. I love it. Got it. I love those cards, and I think they are undervalued compared to their Prism counterparts. And I wonder if we do see Panini increasing print runs a lot this year, which is a concern that I've had. I talked about in previous episodes. If we do see over time the market start to punish the value of Prism Silver because there becomes more awareness of how many are printed, and people start to realize they're actually not that rare. Do we see a set like Optic, and as you said, the Optic Hollows, do we see the opportunity for them to start to increase in popularity and start to see a quicker appreciation, perhaps in the face of maybe Prism not doing that in the long run? Yeah,
I think it's happening already. I think we're starting to see it. There's some popularity growing with cards, specifically the Optic Hollows. I think good graded Optic Hollows are very safe investments right now.
Yeah.
They're just so underpriced.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. It's a good place to be. Good. This has been good, Ty. I appreciate it, man. Hey, any last comments, any last thoughts on upcoming basketball, how to approach?
So I do, for all sports, I do kind of a market report, and I look at, I put it in 4 categories, and I actually have it in front of me for basketball. Which of these products have the highest wax increase? So if you buy sealed, which one goes up most over the course of a year? Which one has the highest volume over the course of a month? And then which one has the average card per price sell? I rank those. And then I do upside. So what does the box cost versus how much could you sell some of the top cards for? And I break all that down in basketballs that I'm putting out this week. But you'd be surprised with some of the cards, the products that you think are really good in basketball that aren't as good as you think. And then products like a Revolution or even a Chronicles that's in the top 10 of overall products for basketball when you average them out and give it a ranking. It's pretty fascinating. So I would definitely check that out. It's super helpful when you think about where should I spend my money this year's products. It kind of helps you put things in perspective, and like products like Opulence and Spectra and Threads that maybe some people like aren't that good.
Yeah, and I read that report. I haven't seen obviously your brand new one you're about to put out for basketball, but I've read some of that stuff on your site. I found it extremely insightful, and I found some of it surprising. I mean, some of it definitely, some of it didn't. Some of it kind of went on gut, but some of it surprised me. Can you share, based on the report, maybe the top few sets, the top things that you would be looking for, this year?
Yeah. So the top 5, number 1 was Contenders Optic. It won almost across the board, which is it kind of surprised me. Contenders was second. Prism was third. Select was fourth. And then number 5 was actually Donish Optic. But you'd be surprised with number 6.
All right, so hold on.
Oh,
Crown Royal's still there? Crown Royal's still there?
Yeah, it gets such a bad rap. I feel like every year when it comes out, people are kind of bummed.
Yeah.
With either condition of cards, the checklist wasn't as good, or it wasn't distributed very well, but it did really well. But yeah, the one on the bottom. You want to take a guess at what the worst product was in rankings?
Can I guess Contenders Draft Picks?
Where did that fall? Let's see. No, that was actually like 14.
Okay. Now we're looking at last year, though, right? We're looking at last year.
Yeah, I think last year was slightly better.
It was slightly better. I mean, Contenders Draft Picks has never been a super strong product, but it was a better product. I had better experience busting it last year, way better experience busting it last year than this year. So, but anyway, what was at the bottom? Okay. Give me the categories again in terms of volume of sales.
So wax increase. So I do this over from release until the data I grabbed, a couple weeks ago. Volume. So where does it fall in rank of total volume of cards being sold? Average price per card. And then what is the upside from what the box costs versus how high do some of the top cards sell? To kind of
I would say Flawless.
Very good guess. Actually, Flawless NCAA was the worst product of the year.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That I should have actually said that, because I Flawless and Flawless Collegiate, of course, makes sense, right?
And I don't have the data on Flawless, obviously, because it hasn't come out yet.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. Honestly, I don't understand Flawless at all. I don't understand people who buy Flawless. I don't get it. It is so overpriced. I mean, if you want to go for the high-end product, you are 100 times better off going for National Treasures than Flawless.
Yeah.
And I just look at the secondary market, and I've been buying a large number of basketball rookie cards from the last few years, and the Flawless, their version of the RPA, it just doesn't command nearly the same value, and oftentimes doesn't even have the rookie card logo on the card, which just by itself is going to throw off the value. Totally. But it just doesn't command the same value. I mean, nowhere close to the same value as National Treasures, but it's a more expensive box. So I don't get that at all. I've never gotten Flawless.
I don't get it either.
And then
can I say one more thing?
You're making Flawless Collegiate worse, because now you're putting the players in their college jerseys, which people don't care about.
Yeah, exactly. Let me just say this though. First off, I think you're doing an amazing job at everything you're doing with Sports Card Investor. I really do. I love your episodes, and it's been super helpful for me. But my last piece of advice would be, even though we talk a lot about investing, both you and I do, enjoy this year. Like, enjoy the products, enjoy the rookie class, enjoy what the manufacturers are doing, because that's what it's all about for me. I still enjoy basketball cards.
Yeah.
And we can sometimes lose sight of that when we talk about all these numbers, but if you're not enjoying it, then it's not a lot of point in this. Yeah.
I 100% agree. I mean, it is fun from an investment standpoint, but the thrill of ripping open wax, and even the thrill, like, I love the mail day. I love going to my mailbox and some of that stuff that I bought on eBay. showing up in my mailbox and me, opening it, showing my son, being like,
Yeah.
hey, check this out. Like, this is awesome.
Totally.
There's a thrill in that. So,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's only worth doing if some of that fun spirit remains alive. So, totally agree. Awesome, Ty. Well, hey, when I came on your podcast a few weeks ago, I told you that when I got back into the hobby, that I came across your podcast, and I have just been consuming all of your content, some of the best content online. So certainly, hopefully my viewers, if they haven't checked out Breaker Culture's podcast and website yet, they're going to do so after the show. It's great. And hopefully we can continue to collaborate like this on future episodes.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
Awesome, man.
Let's go watch Michael Porter Jr.
Yes, let's do it.
See ya.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode. I told you Ty had a lot of great thoughts. He sure did. I hope you got a lot of great takeaways from our conversation. Check out his podcast, Breaker Culture, and his website, breakerculture.com. And of course, I really want to get your feedback and your thoughts coming out of today's episode. Please join my Facebook group. The link to that is on sportscardinvestor.com, my website. Please join my Discord chat server and leave comments in YouTube. Again, sportscardinvestor.com is where you will go to find those links. And most importantly, guys, please subscribe. Please subscribe if you haven't yet already. It helps more people see the show, and it helps you get notified when new shows are coming out. Click the little bell icon next to the subscribe button to make sure you get notified. You're going to want to do that because my next episode is going to be great. I am talking about Hall of Famers, and I'm talking about how to invest before guys get into the Hall of Fame. So we're going to have an interesting conversation about that next episode. You're not going to want to miss it. Hope you enjoyed this one. Have a great rest of your week, everybody. Enjoy the playoffs and pro football, college football, NBA starting up. It is a great time of the year to be a sports fan, to be a sports card investor. Enjoy it all, and I will see you on the next episode on Sunday. Thanks, guys.